will say is not meant to be taken as advice for other pilots. I'm just merely stating my experience and what I have learned. So what happened, I had sort of like a bad landing on the approach to Saint Louis Obispo. I was cruising at 10,500 feet. I descended late because I didn't calculate everything properly, and the landing, as you guys have saw, needed a lot of improvement. It started at sort of 7,500 feet when I was already descending, and I got a traffic alert from Santa Barbara approach, which coordinates the approaches to Saint Louis Obispo, that there is a regional jet under me by about 1,000 feet. So they were cruising, I mean, they were approaching at around 6,000 feet and descending. So he was below me, and I was instructed to stay at 7,000 until I have that traffic in sight. I had him in sight, and I realized that I am too high, and I started an aggressive descent. Okay, so here I will be issued an instruction to do a left or right 360 because I am too high.
Okay. Sirius 8 Romeo Golf, can you just make a left wide 360 for spacing? I see you're kind of high and I suspect you'll slow down for your descent. Air traffic 10 miles in trail at jet that will precede you. Just a big wide left or right 360, your choice.
Doing a left 360 to 8 Romeo Golf.
Okay, so here I will be issued a traffic alert for a regional jet about 1,000 feet below me on the approach to Saint Louis Obispo, and then I'm going to realize that I am too high.
Never Ray Romeo Golf, traffic 3 miles northeast your position, descending straight up from runway 29, a CRJ 700, 6,500 descending. Maintain above 7,000 until you have them in sight.
Above 7,000 until I have them in sight, 248 Romeo Golf. Traffic in sight, 248 Romeo Golf.
Sorry. Sirius 8 Romeo Golf, thank you. Resume on navigation, descend at your discretion.
Navigation, descend at our discretion, 248 Romeo Golf.
Okay, I will continue my descent. Let's fast forward a little. Okay, here I am on the final approach course, and I'm realizing that I'm still too high, so I decided to do a couple of S's. That was another mistake. What I should have done is, if I am in the flaps 50 operational speed, I should have just dropped flaps 50 and continued the approach.
Romeo Golf number 1 to the runway, traffic 1 o'clock, 1 mile, helicopter 1,000, will report you in sight, no factor.
Thank you, number 1 for runway 29, 248 Romeo Golf, thank you.
53 Charlie, number 2, following you Sirius on a 2.5 mile final, 1,200, report when you have that traffic in sight.
Looking for traffic, helicopter 53 Charlie.
Okay, and now on the top left you can see my primary flight display, and on the top right you can see my multi-function display. Particularly important is the power setting. Okay, so another mistake that I have over here is I retarded the throttle too much. I'm flying at idle right now.
Flaps 50, mixture is full rich, boost pump is on.
Traffic in sight, helicopter 53 Charlie.
Helicopter 53 Charlie, number 2, following that traffic, runway 29er cleared, touch and go.
Okay, and now for the biggest mistake in my opinion is that I was already too slow and I dropped in full flaps.
Okay, flaps full.
Okay, I definitely should have continued this landing with flaps 50. Okay, now I'm gonna realize that I am too low and too slow, so I'm gonna start adding power all the way to 70.
Runway made, power to idle.
Now notice that I'm gonna be on top of the numbers at 90 knots, roughly around 15 knots faster than I should be. Here I'm trying to prevent the airplane from touching down, and then at some point I'm gonna start thinking that, how long is the runway and how much do I have left? Okay, so I'm going to talk about the lessons I have learned from this landing. I definitely needed to do a better job on the descent calculations. The two S-turns, in my opinion, were unnecessary. I could have just done a slip to land with left aileron or right and opposite rudder if I needed to dump a lot of altitude on short final. Dropping the flaps full was definitely not a good decision. I could have just landed with flaps 50, and I think I added too much power on short final. This is the sheet that I will be using to calculate my descent going forward. It's not meant to be taken as advice for other pilots. Cruising altitude is basically what you are cruising at, and pattern altitude is the pattern altitude for the airport you're going to. 500 feet per minute descent rate seems to be the standard for general aviation single engine airplanes. However, you can choose any other number that you feel is right for you. And the ground speed is the current ground speed before you start your descent, and you should maintain that ground speed. So if you just retard the throttle when you're going to start your descent, that ground speed should stay the same. However, you can change it if it starts being different. Then the offset is kind of something important that I have figured in doing a flight plan. Like, for example, over here I'm flying to Watsonville. The flight plan in ForeFlight or even in your MFD takes you to the center of the airport, not the threshold of the runway. And in this case, it's half a nautical mile. Plus, I added 1 mile for the pattern and then half a mile to slow down the airplane. And this is the calculation section. So 9,000 is basically 10,500 minus 1,500 pattern altitude. This is the speed in nautical miles per minute, which is basically your speed divided by 60. 18 minutes is simply taking 9,000 feet per minute that you need to descend divided by your vertical speed, which is 500 feet per minute, and you get 18 minutes. Okay, so over here in 18 minutes, how forward you're gonna fly? And that's basically this number over here. It is your speed in nautical miles per minute multiplied by minutes plus the offset. So if in these flight conditions, then 36.5 nautical miles before you reach your destination. Okay guys, I will put a link of the sheet I just showed in the description of the video. Everything I said in this video or in the sheet is not meant to be given as advice for other pilots. Everyone should follow their instructors' recommendations and federal aviation regulations. Finally, on a side note, I just want to say that I parked the airplane at ACI Jet and I had an incredible experience. And here are a short couple of videos about my experience at ACI Jet. They're great people, and no, I'm not sponsored by them. Anyways, thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe, and share, and have a great day. Okay, just landed at Saint Louis Obispo. If I'm not mistaken, that's a Gulfstream or something in that caliper. And very nice, very clean area. Honestly, this is top notch, and they have like a coffee dispensary, some snacks over here, some drinks. Everything is great. So I love this place. Definitely gonna be back. Bathroom is also very well equipped. They have mouthwash, some other stuff over here, wipes, toothbrushes. If I'm not mistaken, those are dental floss. So very well equipped, very clean, amazing place.